I'm delighted to welcome today Catherine Rannus from Be Delightful Music. What a delightful
Delightful
name,
music.
Catherine.
Oh, thank you. It's Belightful music.
Oh,
So it's like
sorry, Be
delightful, but
Lightful.
with a B.
Ah, clever, clever. So, Catherine, whereabouts are you based?
I'm in Barnsley, South Yorkshire, in the UK.
Okay, and by the looks of your background, you've got a super music room there.
Yes, this is my favorite room. Yeah, it's a home studio. It's where I belong.
Right, excellent. And how long have you been creating music?
Well, I started playing piano when I was 4, flute when I was 8. I didn't pick saxophone up until I was in my 20s. And I've been recording music since about 2010. Recording series, like I've always recorded little bits because I'm a gigging musician as well. So I've just recorded bits to send out to clients, like demos. I dabbled in songwriting as well. So I recorded a few songs that way. But since 2010, I formed Belightful Music, which is recording music for healing and well-being.
Right, okay. So what led you down that path, Catherine?
Well, I was studying for a crystal diploma at the time. So I'd gone through the Reiki and I'd done my Reiki masters, and then I was doing this crystal diploma and stumbled on the research that the chakras all have a tonality and, a frequency, and actually a bija mantra, a sound, a seed sound to each chakra. And it just, I was a gigging musician at this time in my 20s, almost 30, I think. And you'd think, oh, she's interested in holistic stuff and she's a musician. You'd think those two would have gone together much sooner. But no, I never ever thought of putting them together. And then I thought, right, this is obvious what I need to do. So I knew exactly what I was going to do. So the first album that I did was Pure Chakra, and it starts track 1 with the root chakra. So I use the tonality, the frequency, the bija mantra. So there's all these different elements in that track that resonate with your root chakra and sort of move the energy in that area for the 6 or 7 minute track. And then track 2 is for the sacral chakra, the second chakra. And there's all sorts of things woven into there, the creative chakra, and it's contrapuntal. And I was away with it. I knew exactly what to do for each chakra. And then all of a sudden I'd got the 7 chakras, and I wanted to use it for treatments that I was doing. Because the music I was using, because I'm a musician with a discerning palette, I didn't just want the floaty background type music. I wanted it to be instrumental, if you pardon the pun, in just, working with the energy. So that was the first album done. And then people were interested in it. The people I was treating wanted to buy the music, and a lot of people on the courses I was doing. So then I had to form the album and do an album cover and things like that, which is not my area of expertise, but I did it. And then all of a sudden I was like, well, I've got this name, Belightful Music, now I'll do another album straight away. So I did Pure Piano, and that is where I've tuned the piano to concert pitch. We tune one of the notes, A, to 440 hertz. And I discovered through doing the crystal diploma, all this research, stumbled upon an article that if you tune A to 432 hertz, all the frequencies line up with the Fibonacci sequence, this golden ratio, and it brings the human mind and body and the energy into alignment with itself and with nature, and it's in tune with you. So I just did a whole piano album with the piano tuned to that. So it just sounds like a normal piano. Unless you've got pitch perfect, you probably wouldn't even notice. But just to surround yourselves with those frequencies is just magic.
No, I never think to listen to music. I was married to a musician, and we never had music playing in the house because he was practicing all the time on headphones. I was doing whatever I was doing, but we were out gigging so often. Music was a part of my life. But since I'm living on my own, I just never think to put music on. But I do listen to a lot of audiobooks. So I'm learning all the time. And I find I can't listen to music and read a book. I can't listen to music and, do something on the internet, because my mind then goes to the music.
Yeah.
And then I'm one of these people that I need to be doing something while I'm listening to music. And I'm thinking, well, what can I do? And the only thing I can come up with is knitting, and I'm not ready to knit at the moment. I've been there, done that, knitted loads of things, crocheted loads of things, but winter's coming, so I think it's very possible that I could be listening to your music this winter as I knit and crochet or whatever I decide to do. So the healing thing, how come you were interested in the healing side of things? Because not everybody understands about the chakras. So perhaps you could explain a bit about the different chakras and the crystals and how that comes together.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I think I just went down that path. I was into hypnosis, and then I was into like psychic, spiritual stuff. I was just really intrigued, and I just had a lot of questions. And although I'm not psychic really, and to say all the courses I've done about like energy and spiritual stuff and possibly angel stuff as well. I'm more into, I did it for self-development. It was never what I wanted to do for a living. And I just found myself being introduced to these new ideas, and then I couldn't get rid of the curiosity of how it was more to do with thinking patterns, and how thinking patterns affect your well-being, and how to grab hold of that and take control of that, and enhance your life through that. So, and that's not really a spiritual thing, really. I'm just interested in absolutely anything that makes you feel good. So chakras is one thing, the frequency stuff is another thing, thinking patterns is another thing. And if music can help change your thinking patterns or help you become aware of them and raise your vibration that way, music's like just one tool to do that. But yeah, this insatiable curiosity, it still hasn't gone away. I still haven't learned everything. And I've more recently stumbled upon German new medicine. And I came across that because they were already onto this tuning of the 432 hertz. So I thought, well, they're onto this. They must know something. And then I ended up doing like 6 weekend courses all about German new medicine. And it just fascinates me, and just how disease comes into the body. I don't think it's all just random and you're just susceptible to something just randomly. I really believe we can take responsibility in lots of different ways to get ourselves up on there on the vibrational scale, and make sure we're living our best lives to our full potential.
Yeah, absolutely.
Most
You're
healthy.
definitely speaking my language, Catherine. With the German new medicine, I was introduced to that many years ago. I've had 4 different versions of cancer, and one of them I had stage 4 cancer in 2015, which I beat in 3 months. And part of my recovery was due to a device that I still use every day, called a power tube, and it's tuned. It's the vibrational frequency is directly to the water molecule, and we're 70% plus water. So
Yeah.
that heals the water molecule, and then it by default helps to heal the rest of the body. So I use that along with other strategies as well. But yeah, I'm very well acquainted with the vibrational stuff and so on. So it was interesting when I came across you and the Belightful music. I thought, oh, I must talk to this lady.
Wow, absolutely. See, you're probably the first person who I've come across that's actually heard of German new medicine. That's amazing. How did you stumble upon it?
I have a friend whose husband is German, well, was sadly died, and that's another story. Actually, I'll tell you in a moment. But Wolfie was the distributor. He was German and a distributor for a company that sells, and I'm a distributor as a result. Now Wolfie died, and I took over the distributorship in the UK. And there's been a time where I've sold many of them. I don't think about it too much these days. There's so many other devices available. But I use mine every single day, and I swear by it, but not everybody can afford it, and not everybody's prepared to invest in their health and well-being. They'll invest in their car, but they don't invest in their body, which is a shame. But Wilfie was German, and he and his wife were visiting Germany, and they attended a conference. They just saw something at this conference advertised talking about German new medicine, and they'd never heard of it. So they attended this conference. Part of the conference was meeting the inventor of this device. And then here we are today talking about it. And many people in the UK have got a device. And yeah, something that I highly recommend. It's called a power tube, and anybody listening to this, happy to explain a bit more about it. But in essence, it's looking at the water molecule, as I mentioned, and it works on a 3-phase system. So phase 1 is identifying in the body where it needs most help. Phase 2 is kind of putting the molecules back together, and then phase 3 is kind of locking them into position. So it's when you see a pattern of how it works, it's a bit like a jigsaw puzzle. So you maybe start with the edges, start with the corners, start with the edges, and then start filling the middle up, and then lock it all together. So that's how it works. Fascinating. So Belightful Music, what's happening next then with Belightful Music?
So I have 5 albums sitting on the webpage, belightfulmusic.co.uk. And then during lockdown, obviously I had no gigs. So I thought, right, this is my time now to try and make Belightful Music into something that I can earn a living from, and to try and just swap the balance of my bread and butter money is gigging. And well, I wasn't earning any money really, the odd album sale and the download sale now and again. And I'm not big on promoting Belightful Music either. So I really wasn't selling much. So during lockdown, I did a lot of networking meetings, and I thought if I can just get everyone on the meeting to go onto Spotify and listen to Belightful Music, I might earn 10 pence or something. Yeah, it didn't add up. But through doing the networking meetings, someone randomly said, "So you're a musician. Do you think you could write me a podcast theme?" I would love to write you a podcast theme. Absolutely. So all the research that I'd done with frequencies and tonalities to heal the body, then I could ask them questions about their business and how they want the music, what message they want to send in the music, how do they want their audience, the clients, to feel and respond to that sound. And then I can put the relative frequencies into what they're looking for. So all that research then came out, and I was doing podcast theme tunes, audio branding, music for videos, little jingles, all sorts of different stuff through lockdown from this very room. I was so lucky to have my home studio, and I'm carrying that on. So I've still got the healing music and the albums, but I'm constantly writing new music as library music, royalty-free music that you can download and use for your videos, or the bespoke Belightful package, where I write and record a piece of music specially for that company.
Wow, how exciting. So has that now taken over as your main revenue stream?
Not yet, but I'm hoping over the next sort of 8 to 10 years that I can just tip the balance a little bit.
Oh, hurry up. We can't wait 8 to 10 years. Goodness. Goodness me. The world will have totally changed in 8 to 10 years. And probably what we're all doing now won't be in existence. There'll be some other newfangled, wangled thing. It's going at such a pace. The technology transformation that we're going through is quite remarkable. So we shall see. If we look back 10 years ago, stuff that we were doing then is old hat now. So imagine 10 years ahead what your music will be like and how people will access it. Goodness only knows.
Absolutely, yeah.
So have you ever had a real job, Catherine?
No.
Good for you.
I tried it. When I graduated, the only musicians I knew were my teachers. So I thought, to make a living out of music, I'm going to have to teach. So I was a woodwind peripatetic teacher, and I went around schools teaching flute, clarinet, saxophone. Hated it. I did it for the year. I saw the year out, and I thought, this is not for me, sitting in a box room with no window, not for me at all, with children who don't really want to learn, forget their instruments, and just, no, it was soul destroying actually. So thankfully I got out of it and found, I manifested. You're not gonna believe this. So During my studies, I stumbled upon this little book called The Midas Method by Stuart Goldsmith. Little tiny book, and it was about goal setting and things like this. And this is where I got the inspiration for the power of the mind to create what you want. And I was gigging with a club band at the time. We were driving all over the country doing ridiculous gigs for peanuts. And I was the keyboard player in the band and being a student at the same time. And I thought, this is what I don't want to do. Time-wise, this is ridiculous. You know, money-wise, it's not great. This is not what I want to do for a career. And then I was doing the teaching for the year, and I'm like, this is also what I don't want to do. What on earth do I want to do? So this Midas method, it told you how to set your goals and make sure you're focusing on what you do want instead of what you don't want. And what I wanted was not to travel. So I wanted somewhere really local. I live in a little village called Dodworth in Barnsley, and I just wanted something really local. I didn't want to have to set up speakers and a piano. Ideally, I want to play a grand piano, somewhere posh, bearing in mind I live in Dodworth in Barnsley. And there was nothing locally like where I knew there was going to be a grand piano or anything. Anyway, as the year went on, while I was doing my teaching, thinking this is not what I want to do, they demolished a motel called Brooklands, and they were building this massive hotel, quite posh, in Dodworth, like less than 5 minutes from where I live. And I rung the inquiries number, and I said, my name's Catherine. I play piano for a living. Are you going to have some posh piano in the lobby? Yes, we are. We're going to have a black grand piano in a marble lobby. Okay, let's have a meeting. And I got the job. And literally the September where I'd finished teaching, it opened in September 2001. And I was there on opening night, and they can't get rid of me. Actually, I still play there quite a lot for weddings and things.
Brilliant. Oh, how lovely.
I mean, I play a lot of other places as well, but that's where it started. And that's where I saw how powerful. I literally set an impossible goal. There was nowhere in Dodworth that had a grand piano that I could play every night and get residency and get really nicely paid for playing nice music. There was nowhere. Then they built me a massive hotel.
Wow, what a lovely, lovely story. Oh, that's really sweet, really sweet. And there's so many stories like that out there. People are just so kind of fearful and then moaning and groaning and whinging on about what they haven't got, and this is wrong and that's wrong and every which way. They're not concentrating and giving energy to what they do want. They're not able to visualize it because they're so, you know, their brain's so full up with nonsense. They can't see the wood for the trees. But my guidance to anybody listening is to stop watching the television, stop reading newspapers, stop filling your head with nonsense, and start clarifying what you do want. So the book you mentioned, the Midas Touch,
Midas Method, MIDAS. The Midas
Method.
I mean, that was just the first book I read. That's why it had such an impact. I've read a lot of books since then, which are pretty much saying the same thing, but there might be just one new idea that you can take from it. That a lot of the books are saying the same things, especially with goal setting. If you really just research goal setting, how to set yourself some goals, it's magic.
Yeah, it is. And it's not difficult, is it?
So easy.
Yeah. I'm living in the Algarve in Portugal. I never would have dreamed I'd be living here. I must somewhere along the line have manifested it, but I've got the most delightful life here, which is, you know, way beyond that I ever would have dreamed that I would be doing. Happy as Larry. But I had the privilege of being trained by Bob Proctor. I don't know if you've heard of him.
Yes, he was on The Secret, wasn't he?
He was in The Secret. That was one of his kind of side gig things, really. The Secret is okay, but it's a very basic thing. But if people haven't, you know, don't know anything about this, The Secret is a good place to start, I suppose. But my first book was it The Road Less Travelled? No,
yes.
No, Celestine Prophecy was first, and then The Road Less Travelled. Yeah, Celestine Prophecy by James Redfield.
Read that as well.
And he's got all kinds of podcasts and things now. But yeah, once you start on this road, it's curious, isn't it? You can't stop, can you? And as you say, a lot of them say the same things, and it's very interesting how we kind of get hooked, isn't it?
Yeah. because I think the more you learn, the more you want to learn. And
Yes.
I think you need reminding, because if this is the type of book I read. I just read. I don't read novels. I kind of read these books. But if I go through a phase where I've not read a book or listened to a podcast of this sort on these topics, I like to then get back into it and remind myself how it is, because you can get sucked in to the,
Absolutely. Yeah.
yeah, I've got 3 children, you're busy, you're doing everything for them, and then to take that time for yourself and just make sure, hang on, is this where I want to be? Is this what I want to do? Let's take stock of it. And to do that is so important.
Yeah, very much. People don't allow time for themselves, do they? And that when they do, they think they're being selfish, but it's self-care, isn't it?
It's essential. Yeah.
I'm amazed you have 3 children. You don't look more than 15.
Well, I'm 43, which is why this 8 to 10 year plan, where I might not want to gig when I'm 50.
Brilliant. What kind of gigs do you do now?
I've got a real good variety of gigs, and I love it. So it's not that I don't like the gigging there. That's why I want like 8 to 10 years sort of to turn it round. I play saxophone with bands. I play piano solo, piano and singing for weddings, in restaurants and things. I play saxophone with DJs. Really fun gigs, and I love working with bands and meeting new musicians. And yeah, I've got a really nice balance. I play in a big band as well, which is just awesome.
Brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah.
Big band's terrific. My husband, when we were living in Derby, he was part of a big band. There were 10 of them and 3 singers. And it was just, the actual feeling of being with a big band is terrific, isn't it? It's so
Yes.
different to, a pianist or whatever. So it's great that you've got such a wide variety.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Um,
like to have that variety. I mean, I'm classically trained, which is probably why I set off on the route where I was just going to be a music teacher, because I didn't want to be a concert pianist, which is a classically trained musician. It's a little bit limiting. But then, well, I had that revelation while I was doing the classical degree that I was on. And I said, I don't want to carry on with this because I don't want to be a concert pianist. So they said, oh, well, try the jazz course before you leave the college altogether. I was at Leeds College of Music, which is renowned for its jazz course. Now, if I'd applied to get on the jazz course, I wouldn't have got on because I didn't know jazz at all. I knew all my scales and arpeggios, but when I saw a D7 flat 9, I didn't know what to do with it. So I persevered, and I struggled and found it really difficult doing the jazz degree, but I graduated. And then I got into jazz after I'd graduated, which is perfect, isn't it? And got a little jazz trio together after that. And then now I love jazz now, and I love to play in jazz bands as well. But I've still got my classical roots and pop in between.
Yeah, brilliant. My I managed a band when I was with my husband many years ago, and 2 of the members have created another band because people moved. Oh, your cat's just come in. Your door opened and then the cat appears. I've got mine here somewhere. So yeah, then they've just played at Ronnie Scott's, and yeah. Just imagine. I was so proud of them, and they just announced they're playing there again in December. So they did. I think they were there in August, and they're having them back in December. So how cool is that? I've gone all goosey just thinking about it. So proud of them.
Wow.
Wonderful.
Yeah, that's a big gig. That
Yeah.
is a good gig.
Yeah. So there we go. So Catherine, tell us your website where people can get hold of you if they want any podcasts or pianist or saxophone or any which way.
Yeah, it's belightfulmusic.co.uk. And if you search Belightful Music on Spotify, Amazon Music, all the usual places, I have one of the albums, Pure Piano, up there that you can access. And I've got lots of kids' tunes, actually. I did a lot of children's music. So there's lots of children's songs there which have these healing frequencies in them. So if you've got children and you sing nursery rhymes with them, there's nursery rhymes, there's songs to sing at bedtime, songs to sing like to tidying up songs, that type of thing.
Oh wow, brilliant.
Yeah.
Very good. And they're all on your website.
I don't know if they are actually. They're definitely on Spotify.
Okay. So look up Belightful music. So like delightful, but B instead of the D, belightfulmusic.co.uk. Fantastic. Catherine Rannus, thank you so much for your time today. It's been great fun.
My pleasure. Thank you.